Roysland was always going to challenge. Every missed shot costing at least 8 seconds. Roysland, no such mistakes. Team orders, take your time, make sure, get the targets down. That's exactly what she did pretty much all the way through the championships, and hence she went home with 7 medals from 7 races. No athlete has ever done that.
At this stage, I did feel sorry for Poland with that 41-second lead going into the last athlete, and then it was all about going backwards from this point onwards.
Roysland just got better and better. This shot to take the win for Norway and keep their unbeaten record for the season. 6 relay victories in succession, 5 of them this year. The race for second was between Germany, France and Sweden.
Yeah, Uberg missing that shot, the final shot in the standing, put Sweden on the penalty loop.
And Ukraine also in that chase for the top positions with the Czech Republic, but some 10 seconds clear of everyone else by the time they came round the corner. A great effort, Sulumdal, Tandrevold, Eckhoff and Roysland securing the title, and of course a successful defence for Norway. Germany with Hirschler, Hintz, Preutz and Hermann taking silver. Ukraine, they have to be happy. Remember the Olympic champions from 2014 in Sochi, a timely victory on that occasion. Apologies for Tyrrell's excitement and language on that occasion. Swear words never mean quite the same in a foreign language, but she knows better than that. Eckhoff taking leg 3. Well, what a day it was, Mike. The Norwegians confident. Are they going to complete the clean sweep? It's a very, very rare feat.
It's a rare feat. They have a new athlete in today and who finished 68th yesterday, 2 days ago in the sprint competition, Ida Lien, but I'm quite sure that she'll hold her nerve and not let Norway down.
So these are the scenes in Novo Miesto, the women's 4x6 coming up shortly.
Ah non, de Dieu!
Ida, helt topp. Bare vi kan vurdere. Har du pushet noe litt? Ta en stå, eller du tar en nå, men vi pusher litt.
Ja, jeg tror det, ja. Men...
On va dire.
Ich muss atmen, ein bisschen aufpassen. Okay, aber genau so.
Was gehen wir mit schwarzen hoch, was wir zuletzt gemacht haben. Zwar bei links. Capisce quando lo frustrano, ok?
Dorothea Vera, she has the World Cup to defend, and it's going to be a very, very tough defence indeed, but today is all about the teamwork. No individual points on the World Cup. Tomorrow is when she needs to be on her game, Mike, and you know, lost a lot of points to Denise Herman and Eckhoff and Roysland, not Roysland because she didn't race, but Urberg in the sprint. So worrying times, I think, for Vera.
I think so. I do like the way that the Zingerle has put her on the last leg today. So I would imagine that the theory is, well, if it's not going well for a team, Dorothea, just take it easy. Just don't give maximum. Think about the precious points tomorrow in the mass start.
But if they put her on the first leg and just said go with the flow, she should have been able to do that fairly comfortably. She'd have had an extra hour and a half's recovery.
There's two ways to look at it. But I would imagine, and the Italian team ranked 9th as a nation in terms of the overall relay standing.
Do you think the Swedes have heard the news from Oslo? I suspect so. I suspect so.
That certainly would not have been expecting it.
Now, I'd like to see Justine Brezard have a good race, particularly tomorrow, but you know, we've been backing the French women for a relay win for so long. It's about time it happened.
And remember the French team at the World Championships, it was looking very good at one point, but then on the third leg, Celia Monnier missed 2 targets in prone shooting and 2 targets in stand shooting at a World Championships. Unheard of, and she was so disappointed.
Yeah.
It still finished in 5th.
Not half as disappointed as Chloe Chevalier, who didn't even get a place in the team. But, you know, as Marie Durand-Hebert said, she's just not strong enough, not reliable enough. But Monnier has had more than one meltdown in a relay. So interesting to see how the French get on today. And it is Chevalier who takes Monnier's place, to be honest, on leg 3. So
she can prove herself.
Chevalier's chance, yes. What about the Czechs? Can they spring a surprise? Where were they in the Worlds? They finished 4th. They were only, what, 12, 13 seconds off the medals?
It was a very interesting relay at the World Championships. There's Egil Hjelland on the right, working for the Czechs team. Martin Rippel there. And I think the Czech team today, with Davidova's 3rd place in the sprint competition. We know Yislava can shoot well. It's a good team. Sharvatova, the bronze medalist from the sprint competition at the World Champs, they've got a good team.
Yeah, and the main stories. Norway trying to do the clean sweep for the season, which has been impressive. We got Germany, who should be getting a win. Maybe they can get their first win. And Switzerland, who are trying to make sure they finish 2nd in the relay standings. That's where they are at the moment.
Dva 4, 226. 530. Sto 89. Sto 66.
Ty 175. No, 15-4.
Nervá Slovinsko. 220.
Just don't lay flat. Have these pants fall down too, which is the most annoying thing. So I'll just be skiing and they'll just be like.
Well, there are one or two fans outside the stadium, which is good news for the race today. The women's 4x6 is first, the men's 4.75 coming up later on. The 4x6 course might pretty simple compared to, let's say, the men's sprint event.
And I think I totally agree. It is a simple, relatively easy, and the climb comes on in that first 1.1 kilometre. And I think this course allows so many teams in terms of speed, track time, to hold on to the lead skiers.
Well, we're getting closer to zero, but they're not forecasting zero temperatures until tomorrow night, actually, which is really sad news. But they've done a fabulous job to get the tracks ready. But as we saw in the sprints, if you get a late start, you work twice as hard as everyone else. You would not want to be on leg 4 today. So maybe Vera's going to have a really tough time, and they are trying to protect her.
I think so. With a 24th place a couple of days ago in the sprint, losing a lot of points on that occasion, she'll be up for a podium tomorrow. The rain, of course, just coming on quite heavy in the last hour. Started with a bit of snow earlier, and then very windy. It's kind of calmed down, but there again, seeing these flags, it's picked up outside the stadium and outside the fence. Sad to see the spectators from the hillside there outside the main fence.
I think it makes absolute sense to allow them into the woods. You know, they're passionate biathlon fans here in the Czech Republic. Novo Město, what's it got, 10,000 inhabitants? It's not a huge place, and we're only just over, 500 metres, so they haven't got the altitude to play with, so we're lucky that we've got any snow at all.
Yeah, and think of all these seats, all the tickets had been sold, over 120,000 people were going to be here, but and I haven't yet heard on a refund or if it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, but it really does take the impact away for the athletes, very much so. They've been used to big spectators, big audiences throughout the whole racing season, and it's a new experience for them.
Yeah, and it's tough for the local council because this is the big money-spinning weekend of the year in terms of the stadium, and they've got to spend money on the upkeep of a stadium this big. It's a fabulous facility, so I hope, and I'm sure the IBU will chip in, you know, but it's seen as a necessary precaution with corona spreading so wildly. So it doesn't mean, though, that we're not going to have a good race. It could be an absolute cracker. It's just a shame people aren't here to see it. Poland wearing 11, the team that led by 42 seconds going into the final leg of the women's 4x6 at the World Championships. Italy were 1:06 ahead of everyone else at the halfway stage. What the beauty of this sport, how things change. It does happen occasionally in cross country, but it's very, very seldom.
And you often see at a World Championships, the main players, the big names, as we see in the Norwegian team, on the second last day, you're exhausted, you're mentally fatigued, and the magic through the trigger finger tends to go. You're just so mentally fatigued at that stage, and I think that's why at World Championships we see a ripple in the lineup and a ripple when it comes to shooting.
Elisa Gasparin gets the Gasparin trio underway with Lena Heike, as usual, taking the anchor leg for Switzerland. Another podium finish for them would be fantastic. Second in the World Cup standings. What have their results been? Second, third, fifth, third, and then sixth at the World Championships. That's when they wanted a really good one. Sweden, I think they might be inspired by the news from the Holmenkollen Stadium. We'll see if they can do something special. Hannah Öberg, of course, is their key skier, but she doesn't get a start. She's being rested for tomorrow because I think the Swedes, sensing that she has a chance of winning the overall and joining Zidek and Forsberg as a winner of the overall World Cup. Well, I love the relays, but I have to admit, I am really looking forward to the mass starts tomorrow.
This is going to be a cracking relay with the Norwegian team. They've only got two of their athletes who represented them at the World Championships. Two new athletes in on the lineup.
Notten and Lien, Tandrevold and Eckhoff. Roysland is out because she's got the flu. We don't know what type. Hopefully she's on the mend. And, you know, her chance of winning the overall is gone, having missed the sprint, really. Yes,
and such great form. You mentioned the 7 medals from 7 races at the World Championships.
I think she's just exhausted carrying them around.
She was certainly on the last day, and it didn't start well for her. The mass start on the last day, she was down to 23rd position at half distance, but she created another little miracle.
Come on then, get your money on the table. Sweden, good chance. Switzerland, hey, this is their best chance of getting a win, with Norway greatly weakened, without particularly without Roysland to take the anchor leg, and Eckhoff, you know, getting better, but still not back to the form that we saw from her early season. Germany, Huschler, Hintz, Preutz, Hermann. That sounds good.
That's my team for today, actually. And the Norwegian team, they're always going to be good. And Ida Lien, the new athlete, she's only raced in one World Cup race. That was 2 days ago. It's a big moment for her. I'm quite sure she won't let the Norwegian team down. You just feel that Germany again have got self-confidence, having taken the silver at the World Champs.
Okay, France, Julia Simon, Justine Brizard, who's still skiing as fast as ever.
That's a great team.
Chloe Chevalier on leg 3. That for me is the key, and then Anaïs Pichon on the last leg.
Yes, and they want to put in their mind to be ranked 5th. They know they're better than that, and it looked like their shooting had improved 2 days ago in the sprint competition. So, yep, for me, the French team are back in this race.
And then Ukraine, Russia, the Czech Republic. Now Ukraine, I've got a sneaky feeling we're going to see them on the podium again. Makushina, we've got Zhima, Shemarenko and Pidrushna via Shemarenko coming in rather than Vita.
Well, it is an interesting lineup. Makushina, she doesn't have the pace. Remember, at the World Champs, she only used 1 spare round in her prone, 1 spare in her stand, but 37 seconds off. She didn't miss targets, so a little bit questionable. There she is, alongside the camera now.
This is the steep climb that on most races they do straight away. A little loop just before the stadium, a section of the track that used to lead into the range. So they've switched that round.
They have, and actually, Patrick, from this point on, so there you've got a tough, 2 minutes 15, 2:30, bit of a tangle further down the hill, and then it's relatively simple now back towards the stadium.
Vitozzi in the lead for Italy. Now she put in a really good relay leg in the World Champs, but overall she came away with the silver from the mixed relay, but it really wasn't the championships she was hoping for.
And I thought the last day summed it up for her. She came last, and Dorothea Vera was leading most of the last 2.5 kilometres and came second, so she was way off her form. The moment of glory didn't happen for her. at home in Italy.
Extraordinary after such a good season last year. Any feelings on what's happened there? Do you think she got overexcited, up the training, maybe a couple of percentage points too much?
Seemingly our summer was good. The progressions were perfect. I think the little needle between the two main players in the Italian team psychologically, I think that knocked Vitozzi. It happened at the end of last season in the crucial stages where the friendship maybe begin to become a bit fragile.
Yeah, I don't think that helps. So the first sound of the crowd, you can hear how they love it. I'm not sure, I haven't seen any big screens out there.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spectators. Great to hear them.
I'd be up one of those trees right now if it was me, and I'm sure there'll be some kids hiding up the trees trying to get the best possible view of what's going on. I'd be interested, you know, on the subject of Vitozzi and a number of other athletes who've underperformed this year in terms of form. Be interested to talk about training zones. The 80-20, 80% of your training easy, 20% is hard, intense. A lot of people, yourself included, tend to get it the wrong way around.
Very much. If someone could have held me back, you just need to be held back because you're so enthusiastic. In fact, the best coach was the one who said, and I thought you're just wasting time training so slow, but it's a huge part of training. You've got to build that base. I remember Andrew Musgrave on the glacier with a new coach. He was barely moving and he said, this is unbelievable. He wasn't allowed to produce more than 2.7 millimoles of lactic, and on the glacier at 2,400 meters, you have to go so slow in order not to get above that reading.
And you know, we can't all be taking blood tests every time we go around a corner, so it's all done on pulse rate, and most people's, you know, 50-60% of your training should be done with a pulse below 125.
Yeah, it's incredible. Long, slow training.
I can't get up the stairs.
The pack, as expected, everybody's so close together, just 16 seconds separating first to last. And look how slow they're coming in, Patrick. They're not taking any risks here. Very slow entry to the range.
Well, we've had a couple of windless days. There is a bit of breeze in the stadium just to keep them alert. And on lane 1, Caroline Ofigstad-Notten, who we've seen in a few World Cups, but hasn't really made her mark yet for Norway.
Just thinking of other teams, Poland will be inspired today after their World Championships performance. I feel good about Canada. The Americans are alive and kicking in this one normally.
Well, all the big teams missing, bar Sweden, who are taking their time with Jana Schottheim. Austria have got away early. Poland have cleared all 5. Are they going to be in the lead? Germany, the first of the big nations to exit the range. And
Belarus on first.
3 spares required from Norway. Switzerland, Mike, team of the season, really, having an absolute disaster to start with. Don't say they're going on the penalty loop. One shot. One target left for Sweden and Switzerland. Down it goes. They both clear it.
And look at the amount of time. That was some 9 seconds to release that last shot. And the wind was fairly equal for everybody in that first lineup.
So a lot of spare rounds being used. Not so many teams on the penalty loop. We'll take a break. We'll come back, give you information on how many had to do the extra 150 metres. But it's Belarus who lead after shoot number 1 of 8. One shoot completed in the women's 4x6. We've got another 7 to go, and as is often the way, lots of big teams down the order. Russia in 10, Norway in 12, and lots of ground to make up on Italy, who have been traditional leaders in the early stages. What a shame, Mike, that Italy can't get Sanfilippo and Carrara or other up to the level. Okay, maybe not the level, but get them up to the top 15, top 20 in the world.
It's hard to believe. I know because of the mixed relay with Vindish and Hofer, Vitozzi and Vera, a lot of money was put into them, just the 4 of them. So it kind of left the next level down, not neglected at all. They were still training, but didn't get the same support, and maybe that is a factor.
Well, it paid off. They got a silver medal in the World Championships in the mixed relay, but it's a short-termist approach, a bit like British politics.
maybe, but yeah, no, most teams have got the finance and the staff to support a much bigger program rather than just 4 people out of the nation.
Wow, almost taken by surprise from the noise coming out of the woods. Bizarre situation we have here. Absolute silence in the stadium when they come through. Ukraine, good start from them. I don't know what, I just fancy their chances today. I'm not sure whether Pigdrushna is going to be strong enough to hold off the likes of Denise Herrmann on the last leg, but I think they'll be there or thereabouts.
Yes, and the German team, Horschler, only 9.1 behind. There's Zingerle, the mastermind of this, the resurgence or the creation of an incredible women's team in Italian biathlon.
I wonder if we'll see Vitozzi back to her best next year. 2 more rounds of the World Cup to go after this one. We head to Kontiolahti next weekend and then finish it off in Oslo. And from what we've seen today, the snow conditions in Oslo, there's not masses, but they do have some.
They do, and the races will go on. It'll be quite strange, an empty stadium there as well. There was me saying Merkushina, not the fastest of skiers. She's leading this one in, and she did miss 1 target, so 1 spare round in prone shooting. The only big surprise maybe is Norway in 12th position, 21 seconds behind, and Sweden with shot time 32 seconds behind, 16th.
The pace slows dramatically as they come in for shoot number 2. The wind slightly more problematic for the prone shoot, I would have thought, today, in terms of it's not quite strong enough to blow you off balance in the stand, but it's certainly strong enough to push the round 2 or 3 centimetres to the right.
It does indeed. When those flags are, those 5-gram flags are almost level, has an absolute influence. And then Vitozzi's hair blowing there, so that you do feel that through the rifle as well.
Lanes 25 to 30. Although those teams are a long way behind already, they do have slightly better conditions at that far end. Vitozzi taking her time. This is a deliberate shoot. Oh, and up to that point it was paying off. Norway yet to get a target down. Austria, 3 misses from the first 4 shots. Looks like they're heading around the penalty loop. They are. France in danger of doing a penalty loop as well, and Italy could find themselves with a good 20-second lead. Penalties for Belarus as well. Poland, are they going to struggle early on?
Look at the amount of targets being missed. Norway, incidentally, should go out in 4th maybe. That's Russia into 3rd place.
Last gasp effort from Caroline Horschler of Germany gets the final one down. Slovenia 3 spares. I don't think we've ever seen so many spares being used on the first shoot, Mike. Only 1 team, and that was China, doing a penalty loop.
Yes, but many having to use all 3 spare chances. Oh, it's a pity not going as well as the Swiss team and would have expected, would have hoped for.
China get 5 with 6 shots this time. Switzerland, oh, it's all coming undone. That could well cost them 2nd place in the relay standings. Elisa Gasparin's had an absolute nightmare, and I think she's got 2 penalty loops to ski before she's back out on the tracks. Vitozzi wasn't perfect, Mike, but it was a really deliberate approach to her race.
There was no fear there, and look, you can see how the wind is blowing the rifle. You cannot keep that steady in wind such as this.
Where's this one going to miss?
Probably low right.
No, it's this one that misses. Low right, you're going. Oh, so far it didn't even hit the target.
Oh, that was a massive snatch, a complete blowing off her alignment, her sighting.
High right, but comfortably inside.
Look at it's pouring down with rain as well. You just don't feel good in these lycra suits, soaking wet in these temperatures. Well, Russia, Urlova trying now to take them by what were 10 seconds behind after the shoot.
Yeah, good effort, good fight between those two. Makushna, they're just leading Urlova. Stocky, powerful athlete, highlight of her career, undoubtedly the world title she got in Kontiolahti. Do you think she's sort of lived up to expectations since then?
Not really. When you take that title, when you manage a situation at a World Championships to hit 19 out of 20, no, was it all 20 targets on that day? She's never had the ski speed, but I have expected, or had expected, more in the last 4 years from her.
Julia Simon in 5th place. Norway have recovered a little after the last stand shoot. Notten getting herself back up into the top 6, 5 or 6 for Norway. Just see whether it's her. It is Notten just ahead of Poland, and Zbilut with mistakes on the range last time. Here comes Germany's Caroline Horschler, Vanessa Hintz, a medalist from the World Championships, ready to go on leg number 2. And we've got, what, 150 metres or so between 1st and 7th position at the moment. 30 seconds.
23 teams racing, Patrick, and it's so disappointing to see the Swiss team in 23rd place. They're ranked 2nd in the world. That was a real bad start from Elisa Gasparin. Remember, at the World Championships, from the sprint competition to the pursuit, she moved forward 34 places. It was quite an incredible day. Yes, from 50th up to 16th, hitting all the targets on that occasion.
Now, the technicians that predicted the rain wasn't too difficult because it's been on the forecast for at least 3 days. But ski preparation absolutely key now, Mike. What are you going to do to the base to get it ready for this wet snow?
You now definitely need to get some wicking away of the build-up of humidity under the skis, and in the old days it would be a straight line rolls down the skis, but now it's wicking off to the sides. So there are many variations of a stone grind that can cater for these conditions.
So how much of the research done on the grind has come from car tyres?
Do you know, I honestly don't know. I'm sure they must have looked at that. Of course they would have, to wick the water away, and it does look like a good car tread when you look at the base of the ski. Yeah, probably connected. But
speeds are slightly different though.
But then it's interesting, of course, fluorocarbons, which have been in since 1987, terrible for the environment, terrible for your health. They're slowly being phased out, which I think is good. The waxmen will be delighted, but there's nothing faster out there.
How are they going to police that?
Don't know. Seemingly teams have been buying up fast amounts because you're still allowed to use them. I don't know.
So Italy away in 1st place after the first exchange, and a slight change in order for them. Normally we'd see Vera on course now, but it's Federica Sanfilippo who had the meltdown in the World Championships who takes leg 2. Russia 10 seconds, Ukraine at 11, France at 18, and now France with Justine Brézard. I suspect Brézard will be in contact, certainly with Russia, come the end of this first lap. She might even be knocking on the door of the Italians.
18 seconds, yep, she is a fighter. The biggest surprise for me is the German team. Horschler normally shoots so well. She's only missed 4 targets, so the ski speed has deserted her.
Only missed 4. That's only one round, one shoot. Often teams win a relay, missing just 4 in the whole race.
Yeah, I suppose it's not very good. But given the conditions today, it's slightly better than using all 6 spares.
That's true. Penalty loops for Belarus, for Austria have done 2, Slovakia have done 1, China have done 1, and no team, actually Japan are the best so far. They've just had 1 spare round.
Всем привет, кто зашел, ставим лайки, не забываем, пожалуйста. За какую команду вы болеете?
Estonia has to hand over.
Россия, мне кажется, после второго этапа
Welcome back to Nove Mesto. Here are the lead four teams. First leg completed and only 0.9 of a kilometre of the second leg. Any changes? Brezar from 18 to 12 started hard as expected. Norway from 30 to 28, so Lien is trying to make up lost ground. Probably better just to be patient. Norway have already missed 4 targets, Mike. That's you know, in terms of time, 8, 16, 24, 32 seconds.
It's a big loss of time, and especially in these windy conditions, the athletes are having to take longer to rebuild their position. Tajizaki on the first leg did well there for the Japanese team, in 10th position from 23 teams. So yes, using spare rounds, it's an expensive waste of time, but at least you're lucky to have a first option, second option and third spare round. If you still don't get that target down, it's the penalty loop, 150 metres. That's accounting today for another 25 seconds.
Yeah, been an interesting bit of research to see whether taking 3 seconds longer over each shot would actually, in the long run, save you in terms of the improved shooting.
I think so. When we looked at Vitozzi in the stand shoot, I thought that was a fabulous strategy. She took her time, the wind was blowing the rifle off, she didn't panic, she kept relaxed, and in the end only using 1 spare round.
Brezar of France making it look very, very easy as she comes up alongside the Russian Irina Starik, and no problem going through there. She's almost on the case of Yulia Shima of Ukraine as well. And Brezar, Mike, first 3 rounds of the World Cup, she was on average the quickest skier out on the course.
She was an incredible season she's had, from near the back of the field on the first day of racing in 85th position to first the next day of racing, and it's been that kind of season for her. Good day, bad day, good day, bad day. Hopefully today's a good day.
Yeah, Brezar starting to wind it down now, having worked hard on the first 1800 metres. She wants 200 metres easy just to bring the pulse under control. San Filippo, that loss of balance, an indication that already the body is starting to suffer.
San Filippo at the World Championships, remember, in her stand shooting she had to use all her 3 spare rounds, but still had 2 targets standing, so 2 penalty loops at the World Championships for her. Hopefully she can put that behind her today. Lien, the 22-year-old Norwegian, new to World Cup racing, has never taken part in a World Cup really before. She's skiing well, she's pulling the time back in. At the exchange, Norway were 31 behind, and she's got it down to 23 behind.
So, San Filippo, 7 shots to clear the 5 at the World Championships. Can she make it 5 out of 5? Certainly not as much pressure here as there was at home in Antolz. That's good. Finish the job. Well, she's somehow dislodged a round, which has given Russia and Ukraine an advantage. Oh, that's a real shame for San Filippo. It was all going so well, but that's a basic error, Mike.
fundamentally, you've got to get those bullets in quickly. You train for this so often. Now panic begins to set in for Sanfilippo.
5 out of 5 for Lien of Norway, puts them back up into the top 5. I think they're going to come out. But Ukraine leading with Zima, 23.36. Starek just behind. And there is Lien, 25.6. So another couple of seconds gained on the leaders.
Sanfilippo, she's wound her sights across to the left by about, and accounting for about a centimetre. Luckily, at the end of the day, she got it. She spent a lot of time coming into the range first by 5 seconds and then losing so much more.
Hey, good shooting from USA. Susan Dunkley on course. They were 17th at the exchange and they've gone out in 10th. So 7 places gained from Dunkley. Joanne Reed takes leg 3 and then Claire Egan back on course, taking the anchor leg for the Americans. And no doubt you'll give her a mention. Her mum was berating us for not mentioning Claire Egan enough. I think she got enough airtime during the World Championships.
Yes, I would love to see the American team. It's going well now. They're in 10th place, 53 seconds behind. They've only used 2 spare rounds. That's good shooting.
Yeah, it's a great shoot from Ukraine as well. Zima just dropping that last one low, but it's helped us stay ahead of France. France were 5.2 behind going in, 7 seconds behind coming out. So Brezard taking her time, and the French have now taken 5 spare rounds, which is the highest of any team in the top 5. The Czech Republic starting to make a move. Up in a 4th with Davidova, and 3 misses only, so theirs is 3rd best in terms of shooting overall.
Davidova, you know, this pace that she's going, she may not close down on the lead there, but she's certainly going to pull so many of these precious seconds back. Zima gritting her teeth up this horrible steep climb. When you watch in the summer months, or certainly in the glacier and in the afternoon shooting in Ramsau, you watch the Ukraine team shooting and it's so serious, and only one of the athletes smiling, and it's Zima, generally a very, very happy, positive person.
Lien for Norway at 23, so bit by bit, she's doing a perfect job, Mike. You know, from 30 seconds, every couple of 100 meters, she gets a second back. There's not a rush, but if she goes 5 with 5 on the stand shoot, you know, she could put Norway into contention. And remember, they're trying to make it 6 wins from 6 races this year. Unbeaten since the World Championships in Östersund last year.
It's incredible. And I think in a sense, with Lien being down in 5th position at the moment, there's less pressure than had she been going into the range in 1st position, a whole new experience, World Cup racing. So I think the Norwegian team will be quite happy with the situation right now. Ukraine will be delighted.
Yeah, their relay results have got better and better as the season has gone on, and of course they got onto the podium for the first time at the World Championships, otherwise averaging about 6th in the women's relays, and they lead at the moment, but only by a precious 2 seconds over the French, who have Justine Brezard on course. Chloé Chevalier lined up for leg 3. I think Chevalier will be hoping that France aren't leading coming into the exchange.
Well, it's certainly, look at this, strong, as expected, strong skiing from Brezard. The shooting has been good. And it's good to see Russia up in the top, the sharp end of this World Cup on leg 2.
So Ukraine and France back into the stadium together. Russia with Irina Starek just some 25 metres behind, and again that sort of, it's like they've gone down 2-3 gears as soon as they come over that little rise that leads into the stadium. Calm things down. Davidova still pushing hard, Mike. That might be her undoing.
Maybe, and the headwind coming up this straight as well is quite noticeable, and that's why in the mass start when we saw them coming in, it looked as if they were travelling very slow, but that is a strong headwind. And then it is more shaded over here in the range area with all the banking, the safety banking as you have on all ranges. Just looking at the range, actually, the stones, the pebbles down the firing line, that would never ever be allowed in Britain because you get deflection off rocks and stones. But these biathletes don't tend to shoot down there into the into the pit. It's always on the targets.
So Zima for Ukraine, Brezar for France, and then Russia's Starik in lane 3, and the local girl, Davidova, in lane 4.
Davidova normally never risks fast shooting, but she's steady, careful, and mostly accurate.
Oh, Brezar didn't slow down early enough. A penalty loop for France. Is that their chance gone of getting their first win of the season? And Davidova with number 4 going wide. Russia are in trouble, and the pace on the tracks, Mike, costing the lead teams. Norway now have a chance to get back in this one. Ukraine are away with just 2 spares required, and the Czech Republic in danger of going on the penalty loop.
Brezar, 1 shot left, 2 targets standing. It's a terrible second leg.
Yeah, it's not bowls. She won't get both of them. She gets 1. Russia and France and the Czech Republic all on the penalty loop. Norway, Poland, Germany. Oh, Norway not quite yet. Germany, brilliant shooting from them. And Vanessa Hintz, who we haven't seen in the race so far, is going from 8th, probably up into 4th or 5th. She's got 4th, 22 behind.
Right, and what about Magnussen? She came into the range 6th position, half a minute behind, 28 seconds behind. She's off out in 2nd place.
Norway are going to have lost a couple of places. They were 5th coming in. They've avoided the penalty loop. They dropped down to 7, as you can see, 40.7 behind. So 40.4 behind.
And 2 spare rounds required there from Lien.
Susan Dunkley for the USA. Only 3 misses for the Americans, so she's gone clear. I think Dunkley tired, Mike, not skiing quite as fast as she usually does.
Look at the weather. The rain coming in there. Luckily, Makarainen's left eye is protected there, but now the rain and snow is coming more directly down.
It's a fine day for Abby Moore.
Love it. I used to love these conditions. Well done, Makarainen.
Yeah, one of the best shoots. What's going on? Is that the wind? Is it the rain? Is it just the pace on the tracks has been a little bit high?
Your gloves get wet as well. Your ski suit is a little more slippy. There's so many things going on. Poor biathletes. Hey, when you're used to the Highlands, it was just normal.
So Ukraine's still there. Their lead is still around 8 seconds, but instead of France chasing, it's the Swedes who've come up the order. Anna Magnussen's had a tremendous second leg, and she will be handing over to Elvira Urberg, and it's at this sort of stage that the coaches say, oh, why did we give Hannah Urberg a day off?
They'll be wishing maybe that they hadn't. It's too late now to change, but Lynn Persson, yes, she may not ski quite as fast as Hannah Urberg, but normally she's as accurate. So still good news. Magnussen there, you can see in 2nd place, trying to close those 8 seconds down. And Poland, the magnificent race they had until the final leg at the World Championships, they're producing much the same today.
Yep, they got as far as 40 seconds behind the Poles. They've got it back to within 12. Germany, good recovery from Germany. At the first exchange, Germany were 42 seconds behind and down in 9th position. So Hintz has done exceptionally well. 21 seconds behind, that's nothing, Mike. It's a couple of rounds.
Oh, and we saw how quickly things can change. Italy leading into the last shoot and now down in 10th place, 50 seconds behind. So much can change today with these difficult conditions. There's San Filippo. What a real shame. I was so hoping she could have got all 5 down.
Yeah, but she hasn't done a penalty loop. She hasn't done a penalty loop. So Italy in a better position than they normally are at this stage.
She got the last one out. Sorry, I thought she had to turn right. No, she just took an age getting those 3 spare rounds in.
Yeah, the Czech Republic, France and Russia of the teams in the top 10 have all done penalty loops. The United States still sitting in 10th position. Really, they aim for top 5 in the relays, and that should be possible, but they've all got to be on their game. They cannot afford too many more misses. Finland with 2 penalty loops already, 1:28 behind. The field is well spread. Via Shemerenko next to go, the veteran in the Ukrainian team.
Well, this is such an interesting race. Coming up to halfway, of course, anything can change. I'm just looking. Look at the big teams are still there. Norway only 35 behind. In fact, got that down to 32 now, Lien. So she's done no real harm here. There's Mickey Grice shouting his Polish team on.
Yeah, Poland, they came very, very close to picking up medals in the World Championships, Mike. I think Mickey was pleased with the way things had gone.
Yes, his, 3 gold medals in Vancouver Olympic Games.
Or Torino.
Torino, yeah, 4 years earlier. He was still there, though, in Vancouver. And so many World Cup victories, and he's done a lot of good for Poland.
So via Shemerenko away at the last split, they had 12.9 to play with. Sweden and Poland have fought hard. That's been beneficial for both of them. They've been quick over the last 500 meters. Here come Germany, and Germany will be quietly confident, I think. Franziska Preutz and Denise Herrmann left to go. Preutz first, and then of course Denise Herrmann, who has already got herself a victory here in this stadium this week with a win in the sprint.
7 секунд.
Czech Republic, they would have been hoping that penalty loop hadn't happened, but you know what, they're still alive in this race at 35 behind.
France, 4th at the first handover, dropping down to 7th, and their margin from 18 down to 30 seconds, so not a good day for Brezard. Look good on the tracks, but maybe not getting the pacing under control. Away go America, still in 10th position, and they are 53 seconds behind, making up the top 10 teams here.
Ну, да, круг сделала. Но много не привезла, 27 секунд отставания. В принципе, с кругом неплохо. Обычно с кругом было минута, привозили минута больше. С учетом того, что не сделала круг и 27 секунд. Неплохо Украинки молодцы, молодцы. Коронавируса практически не боятся. Наши украинцы, русские, других не слышно.
So we're through the halfway stage, and 3 teams that have threatened to produce something special this season are all up there. Norway, who are unbeaten, down in 5th, Tandra Vold and Eckhoff. This would help Eckhoff, wouldn't it, Mike, if she could produce a really good run?
I think so, and from what we saw in the sprint, she was looking good, a little unlucky with the win, but you could see her, for me, I felt her mindset was back to almost winning ways, and today will be very good for her. Get some more practice in on this range before the mass start tomorrow.
I've just got a feeling that the Ukrainian skis are going pretty well. In these conditions, you can sort of sense they're going slower, but it does look to me as though Via Shemerenko is gliding well. We'll get an indication of that. She left the stadium 10 seconds ahead of Sweden. That margin hasn't really changed. but the first stage is fairly even. We should get another split at around 1.7 kilometers on this third leg. Elvira Urberg looks very, very like her sister, and she's getting closer and closer and closer to her. What an advantage having a big sister who's an Olympic champion, a world champion.
Oh, and all that Elvira will be thinking, I want to achieve that, yes, at a similar age. Of course, Hannah's still only, what, 23-year-old?
If she is going to catch her, when do you think she needs to do it by? Or can we already say that Hannah has a better engine than Elvira?
It's an interesting one. They're fairly comparable. Elvira has taken wins at IBU Cup. Of course, we saw her in her first race take a 12th position in the World Cup. So I think she's got the capacity. And of course, the 8th position here, I thought was fabulous. Hitting the perfect 10 out of 10. That's her personal best. Her trajectory, it's going well.
That's where the pace is. Preutz and Tandrevold working together. Russia and France in a pair. And then the Czech Republic, who have missed 7 shots so far. Worst shooting of the day. Are we going to point them out? Belarus, I think, with 3 penalty loops already. 10 shots missed in all.
And Austria, actually on 3 as well. It's not an easy day out there. With the rain, I think, playing a huge part as well.
The leading 5 teams have all avoided the penalty loop so far, and will hope to keep that. 4 shoots still to go, and it's going to be Ukraine first to strike. It's miserable, miserable. The crowd may be happy. They've been told to stay at home now.
Женская эстафета сегодня в 7 часов по Москве. Всем привет,
So your gloves are wet, you don't quite have the same feeling, and generally your fingers are cold when they're as wet as this. It has a small impact.
So Mike, when it's drizzling you call it dreich. What do you call it when it's like this?
Horrible. Although it's turning more to hailstones now. That's good shooting.
Well, that is excellent shooting from Shemarenko. Her experience showing there. Germany with Preutz are going to be hot on their tail. Norway and Tandrevold with 1 miss. Tandrevold shouldn't need another spare. She's better than that, but she's going to lose 8 seconds or so to Germany, who she's been skiing with. France and Russia, and as always, Mike, when we get to the second half of the relay, the cream starts to float to the top. We said it so many times.
So much is changing here. Elvira, she pushed so hard, and oh, look at the shake of her head, even when she realizes there's an important 2 shots left, but it looks like a penalty loop.
Well, it's certainly one. The Czech Republic have already done one. They do not need another. Italy. It's good shooting from the Italians. And Michaela Carrara on their leg. USA now trying to hold on to a top 10 position. Joanna Reid, it is on course, but Shemarenko way down the line, almost to 50 seconds back on the tracks, and she produced the best shoot of that first shoot in this third leg.
Shirvatova at home on the range, she knows so well. It will be very disappointed having to go around this penalty loop. 3 spare rounds take a lot of time. The penalty loop's another 25.
And she's still got the standing shoot to come. Will she redeem herself, or will she dig herself even deeper into the unpopularity of the crowd?
When it's at home, you know, the tendency now for Shirvatova will be to push so hard to try and limit the damage, and yes, she will come in above her normal state coming in for the stand.
Ребята, давайте лайки поставим.
1 or 2 teams in danger of being lapped. That's Maria Arbe, who is still working her way around her first loop, yet to do the prone shoot on this third leg, and we're expecting Ukraine to appear any minute now, so I would be very, very surprised if Korea actually start the final leg with Anna Frolina. Frolina's probably hoping that is going to be the case.
Hey, I'm just looking at the Italian result here so far. They've actually moved back up, down in 21st, and now up all the way to 7th. So Dorothea Vera, maybe she can do something exceptional. We know she can. But of course there's still the stand shooting left to negotiate.
Well, it would be just her luck to be put in a position where she has to decide, do I take it easy or do I go for a top 3?
I think she's going to have to. It depends how Carrara shoots this next time, but if the skiing is good, they're still in the race. And in fact, I'm just thinking back, the World Championships here in 2013, for the first time ever, an Italian women's team reached the podium at a World Championships in female biathlon. They came 3rd. So Andrea Zingerli last night on the brief for this race, I'm sure he would have mentioned that, and often it can inspire the team. Maka, Poland, 41 behind, that's still fine. So much can change today with the weather and in terms of shooting as well.
Here is Carrara ahead of Elvira Erberg, who's still ruining those mistakes on her prone shoot, a penalty loop, and they now find themselves 1 minute and 8 behind. They were only 10 seconds behind, so that was a dreadful shoot from Erberg. The Czech Republic in a similar sort of position, and then the Americans back in 10th, where they've been for a long time now, and the margin between 10 and 11 currently stands at around 38 seconds, so it's looking good for a top 10 finish for the United States. Are Ukraine going to get a win? They didn't bet a 7th in all of last season. They of course got that bronze medal in the World Championships just 2 weeks ago, and that was their best result by miles this season.
This is interesting. I thought that we'd see Preutz close the lap time or the ski time a little on Shemerenko, but it's the opposite. She's lost 5 seconds. That was at 3.7 kilometers into the headwind, into the storm.
Yeah, it's miserable. Absolutely miserable. What, in terms of the sights, Mike, snow obviously can get into the sights and cause problems. What about rain?
Oh, this humidity can sometimes be even worse, because although you've got your snow covers down, you can see at the end of the rifles, but then the foresight as well. But rain can get into that 1 millimeter gap, so you have to blow through the rear sight, obviously from back to front. Haven't seen anyone doing that to this point, and generally the snow covers do work.
Chloé Chevalier on course for France. Anaïs Pescon is taking the last leg for the French. They are currently in 5th, 27 seconds down. And actually, Chevalier's done pretty well, Mike. She's not lost much time throughout this race today. In fact, she's gained 5 seconds on the leaders, so she's done herself proud, and certainly, you know, has justified her selection.
I think so. And only 60th position in the sprint here a couple of days ago, missing 4 targets. I was a little surprised they included her.
Do you think we'll see a Monnier in the French relay again?
Not for some, maybe not this season.
Well, this is the last
race. Of course, this is definitely not this season. What was I thinking? She's taking the opportunity of no-win situation, but she's running out of air. Good recovery. She knows so many times over 15 years how to hit that last shot. She panicked a little there.
Preutz is away, but misses number 3. That gives Shemerenko a chance just to recover, and suddenly the presence of the other teams has disrupted that brilliant focus that we saw from Shemerenko for the first 4 shots.
And look at Shemerenko, how she supports it on her knuckles. She's
Russia,
got 1 shot.
Norway and France all with a chance of going out of the stadium. France and Norway 5 with 5. Ukraine a disaster, having led the way in. Germany are on the penalty loop with Preutz. You just couldn't write this sort of stuff, Mike. You're never certain until you cross the line in the women's biathlon relay. And Germany and Preutz a penalty loop at this stage. That is absolutely dire. And I should think that Denise Herrmann's heart has absolutely sunk.
Well, the only upside is that she become the absolute heroine, getting the Germans back up into first place, if at all possible.
What are we going to see from Erberg, who made a complete Horlicks of the prone shoot?
It looks much more composed there. She didn't ski as hard, I don't think. It didn't appear that way on that lap. She's got 3.
And Shemerenko, Mike. Shemerenko, the perfect example as we watch Carrara down 4 out of 4. Oh, she misses 5. That would have been a real boost for Dorothea Vera on the last leg. Yes, now she needs this. Down it goes.
Fantastic.
Good shooting.
Yeah, Shimarenko, that was incredible. Everything was so right. There was no wind influence. And then she started tightening up when it came to the last shot.
Yeah, you saw the increase in rifle movement. You saw the 2 big breaths after the first 3. It just shows you that the last shot is harder than the first 4 put together.
It really is. And especially when she heard more and more skiers coming in alongside her. Oh, Sharvatova. That's the worst possible scenario. 1 penalty loop in the pro and 1 in the stand. Chances of a podium now have gone.
Finland still fighting hard and shooting pretty well. In terms of shooting, what do we got? 4 teams in the top 8 who have not done a penalty loop. And the best record so far of those teams is Norway, who have just 7 misses. You know, even with a weakened team, Mike, they have done fabulously well.
Well, I just had a feeling, I just didn't think today, especially in the wind, but that wind has died away now. I just thought Norway, maybe this is the day. In an incredible season of relay racing, maybe there's one day that they're going to have a slight blip. Doesn't look like it anymore.
But which Tyrrell Eckhoff is going to turn up?
I hope it's the relaxed and calm Tyrrell Eckhoff. Or is she ever like that? I'm not sure she is. Certainly before the race, she's just a bundle of energy. But that bundle of energy can sometimes turn into a bundle of nerves. This race is still so alive for so many teams. Even Sweden at 53 behind, they still have a chance. Italy with Vera, 7th place, 53 behind. She's got a real chance of taking them back to the podium.
Germany with 10 misses so far and 1 penalty loop coming from Preutz. They're making Hermann's job very, very hard, but 32 seconds, that's the sort of target that Hermann will enjoy to chase down. The problem is she's chasing perhaps the only woman who's been able to match her for ski speed this year.
That is so true, but you would expect that Hermann will take 15 of those seconds in the first 2 kilometers. Maybe not off Eckhoff, but off the rest.
Good performance from Tandrevold, just being tracked by Chloe Chevalier, who's done brilliantly. Nothing really between them coming out of the stadium. We had 4 seconds separating the top 4 teams after shoot number 6. That's an extraordinary situation. And Preutz is, I was going to say she's closing the gap rapidly, but actually losing ground to Tandrevold on this last lap. I can hardly believe Ukraine are back in it. I thought Shimarenko had thrown it away.
I did too. She's picked the pace up here on this lap, and there she is, just in the picture now. Having the ski time of her season, I think. Tandrevold, lovely technique, explosive drive through the legs.
Well, we've got...
Here comes Shimarenko.
4 meters between the leading 3. It's going to be even tighter than that when they cross the line. The World Championships, Mike, Poland had a 42-second lead over everyone going into the last leg.
Yes, so much can happen. The coaches trying to bring every tiny little bit of energy out of their teams.
Yeah, it's like it's a shame this isn't the finish, to be honest, because it would have been an unbelievable sprint. But it's just the handover, the 3rd handover. 1 leg of 6 kilometers to go. 2 shoots still to be completed. There's Tyrrell Eckhoff of Norway ready to go. Is she going to produce her golden performances that we've seen this year, or is she going to struggle with the rifle? We will see. France are relying on Anaïs Bescon. Ukraine, they put Elena Pigdrushna on the last leg. They're all pretty evenly matched, although Eckhoff is certainly the quicker of the 3.
And look at this, Russia still well in this race. Retseva taking the anchor leg, and well, on her best day, she could stay with this pace, she could stay with the lead 3.
And this lady can destroy everyone who has started ahead of her. What is the gap that Denise Herman has to make up? It was sitting at around 30 seconds, and Preutz hands over with 30.1. A good target for Herman. How does she do it?
I think she just attacks and take the risk in terms of shooting, and I think we'll see her close that quickly, certainly by 10 seconds, maybe as much as 15. That would be on Ukraine and France, maybe not on Norway.
Looks as though it's going to come down to the standing shoot, which is what we like. Ideally, we have a ski race to the line. Doesn't happen so often in biathlon.
No, it doesn't. As you said, if that was the finish to the line there, that would have been exciting. We might well see something similar today. You never know. It's so many twists and curves in this race.
Vera, were it 45 seconds, I think we'd have seen her chase, but I think she'll go steady, shoot well. She may give us another demonstration of how to shoot in the stand position. I hope so. And if she can get top 5 for Italy, that will go down well. And I wonder, Mike, if they produce their best relay of the year, will they stop putting Vera and Vitozzi 1 and 2?
Yeah, I mean, today maybe we'll see if Dorothea can bring that time back. I think they probably regretted that at the World Champs, playing their 2 trump cards early.
Only 30 seconds separating the top 5. It's a whole lot closer between the leading 3. Good battle going on.
Первый километр
The leading 3, and a fairly even battle between Ukraine, Norway and France, but the news from behind is that Denise Herman is on a stormer. From 30 seconds she's cut it to 20 in the space of 1.5 kilometers. She's not hanging around. I think she heard you, Mike. Just go for it.
She is absolutely going for it. She won't gain quite as much in the second half of the course, but I think it will be down to 15 deficit, although Tyrolekov now is realising she will have been informed that Herman is closing down rapidly, so she's taken responsibility.
Isn't this where you want to ease it up? Is that what Ukraine and France are doing, saying that the shooting's more important than the 2 or 3 seconds you can gain by keeping the pace high?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, and to attack up here, you're still, what, 20 seconds, 15 seconds away from entering the range. Generally, you want to start backing off a little here. Well, maybe that's why Tyrrell is backing off now, thinking about the shooting.
Yeah, what timings could a coach possibly give the athlete who has the opposition, one on the left shoulder and one on the right?
I suppose the only thing is, well, hang on, one of your main challengers are, of course, Germany, and Herman is closing down fast. Herman, 21, yes, that was 21 seconds.
But with a minute to go before the shoot, the last thing you want to do is put another thought in their head. Isn't it all about calming them down?
You never want to give, if you're coming in here as an athlete and you've got a coach, even for me, coming up that hill prior to the range, you've had your information. You don't need anything else to clutter your mind except you trying to discipline yourself enough to follow routine from this point in.
The wind is not quite as strong as it was in the early stages of this race, so no real excuses. The difference is, though, Mike, it's a long time since they zeroed the weapons, and the conditions now are not the same as when they did it.
Yeah, and I think we may see Tyrrell adjusting her sights. Patrick Oberegger, the Italian, coaching the Norwegian women. He's done so much improved him so much in terms of shooting. He looked a little concerned.
There's a lot of huffing and puffing going on out there, and Pigdrushna's responsible for a deal of it. Anaïs Bescon also working hard. Cyril Eckhoff looks to be under control, working left to right. France going right to left, which is the norm. And Ukraine with the advantage at the moment. 3 down from 3, 4 with 4. Pigdrushna is going to be first away, and France and Norway are going to have to ski some on the penultimate loop here in Novo Miesto.
Denise Herrmann, she's got it right down to 19 seconds.
So, similar scores for France and Norway, exact scores for France and Norway. Germany 3 with 3. Herrmann doing well considering how hard she's skied. Russia aren't out of it quite yet, but Herrmann, she would have been in such a good position if that had gone down, and the margin's going to go back to around 22-23. Make that 31.
The wind has just picked up. Look, they're now quite strong from the left. Retseva, that was good discipline. Her mother, Retseva's mother, would have skied her way out of trouble, taking 30 seconds out of anybody.
Well, Germany aren't out of it, but Herrmann, Mike, has got to go on the chase again, and we always say you can do it once, you can attempt to do it twice, but you can't do it thrice.
It's very difficult, those surges of pace. Great to see Grisdon again. She would have been disappointed at the World Champs, and alongside her, Dorothea Viera. Viera into the range, 130 behind.
Watch the Italians' targets. Once she gets going, it will be quick. Well, that miss just changing the tactics a little.
Sensibly, the wind was difficult to gauge there during that process. She's mastered it. And Dorothea Viera won't have changed in terms of time behind the lead time. Maybe lost a couple of seconds.
3 races in 3 days. It's a tough program, and Poland will be disappointed. A penalty loop coming their way. Finland with Erika Yankai on course in terms of teams laps. Slovakia, Bulgaria, Japan, Korea have all been pulled out, and Belarus are the next team that might suffer that fate. They've done 5 penalty loops, which is 750 extra meters. Great shooting.
So smooth. And she did back off a little coming into the range, but look at this, they're all back together. There was an 8-second deficit after the shooting departure. And is the pace going to slow down? I think Cyril Eckhoff will be quite happy to stay with this pace, and then she knows she's the fastest skier in this group, and then just open up on the last lap after stand shooting, but she needs to get the targets down.
There's a little bit of a gap between 3 and 4. Last time we saw that was standing at 26 seconds, and then Germany were 39 behind. Herrmann's obviously gone ahead of Russia now and has got that down to 30, but the task is looking tough. It's going to have to be a clean shoot from Herrmann, and we don't see so many of them in the stand position.
Подписываемся, сегодня мужская эстафета в 7 часов по Москве.
And then there were 3. Last shoot, it's coming down to their standing performance. Can anyone afford to miss and still think they can win?
Only Eckhoff, but I think the way the conditions are today, you just get a feeling that at least 2 out of these 3 are going to use spare rounds. We'll have to wait and see, and especially when it's so tight, such close racing head to head, 3 nations at the front. And they'll know full well that Denise Herrmann again has pulled another 10 seconds back to the top of the hill. She may pull another 5 back to the range, so they know full well that there's another player in the mix potentially. Oberegger again, the Italian. He really has done so much for the Norwegian women's team, and the 6 victories this year that Cyril Eckhoff has had. Frank Bedeau there, the shooting coach, he's had some tough times in the recent weeks, the shooting coach for the French team, but today he'll be delighted.
Eckhoff seems to be just easing up a little in terms of their standing shoot this season. Pigdrushna 80% in the stand, Bescon 78, Eckhoff 75 after her recent loss of form. In terms of the World Championships, Pigdrushna only needed one spare to get the targets down. Bescon needed 2 spares, and Tyrrell Eckhoff did a penalty loop. She missed 4.
Yes, and I think we heard her comment about that at the start of the programme. Didn't expect that at the World Championships. The pressure is huge now. I love the way that Tyrrell Eckhoff, she's obviously totally been listening to her coach as expected, and she's racing sensibly.
And what they don't want to do is look behind, because they'll see the imposing figure of Denise Herman, who has torn round this second loop. She had no choice, had to go for it. At the last check at 3.7, the margin was 30. It's down to less than 25 now. But the standing shoot is what this is all about. If Herman clears, Mike, she could be in the running for the win.
Absolutely, she could go from 4th to 1st, depending on what happens here. Pigdrushna was very controlled in her prone shooting. If she does the same here, she's going to get 5.
So, Norway trying to make it 6 wins from 6 relays. Ukraine trying to back up the bronze medal that they took in the World Championships. And the French, who have only had 1 or 2 podiums this year, but no wins.
Pigdrushna,
Advantage France, but they then throw number 4 wide, and suddenly Eckhoff, who is taking her time. It's a controlled shoot. It's a perfect shoot from Tyrrell Eckhoff. That's how much it means, even when they win, week in, week out, to produce that sort of performance on the range is fantastic news for the whole team.
Tyrrell Eckhoff was so disciplined, and Oberegger certainly plays a huge part in that, to control her, to calm her down, and it worked beautifully well.
Herman with a miss can now no longer chase Eckhoff. I think it's
on the penalty loop.
I was going to say it's a foregone conclusion. Pigdrushna, Ukraine, what a chance they had to get go one better than they did in the Worlds, but that is unlikely to happen. And Herman, Mike, skiing at that pace, impressive, but it does reduce your chances in the stand dramatically.
It comes at a price, without a doubt. 1 shot left, and she's taken a long time to get those spare rounds in, and fired.
Penalty loop, and Germany are off the podium again, but Herman is better than that. 45 seconds now separating the top 3.
This is a 3-way fight for the bronze medal.
Yeah, but a great fight for the, Bescon looked pretty handy on the last loop. The question is, what will she do? How will she approach this one? To close 4 seconds down on Eckhoff to get in her slipstream is going to take a fair amount of work.
Expensive, a lot of energy. That was a kind of a half shot at 12 o'clock.
Still lots of movement in the rifle, Mike.
There is, you can almost see the pulse. That was another edge shot at 12 o'clock. Yeah, a lot of vibration there and through the rifle.
Normally we see a big smile from Eckhoff when 5 go down, but I think she realises how urgent the situation is.
Leave the emotion to the Italians. Patrick was going wild there.
Bescon.
Oh, she's trying trying hard.
It's not going to happen. There's too much uphill on this course, and that is where Eckhoff is pretty much in a league of her own. The rain turns to snow. Are the skis going to be the factor, as they were in the Holmenkollen 30 this morning?
Well, Tyrrell's now opening up. This is her full pace. You know what? She was so disciplined today. The first couple of laps holding back, or at least remaining comfortable. Now she's on full pace.
So much for a day off before the mass start. That is crucial for her bid to win the overall World Cup.
Yes, and Vera, talking about tomorrow, Vera's still in 7th place, 1:44 behind. So it looks like she's not pushing her maximum out there.
Yeah, she's lost 9 seconds to the leaders. No one pushing quite as hard as Eckhoff.
Look at this.
And here we go for the bronze medal. Russia, Ukraine, Germany. That order highly likely to be reversed by the time they come into the stadium.
I think so. Who would want Denise Herman within 12 seconds of them leaving the range? It could be a German 3rd position.
But you have to remember how hard Herman has had to work on the last 2 laps, Mike. 15 seconds on the first, 12 seconds taken back on the second.
Oh, it's huge, and this is the lap that catches up with you. On the other hand, Pigdrushna and Retsova had a relatively pace within themselves, but here she comes, Denise Herman. Retsova will have been brief. Do not let this one go. The Russians
Весова
won
слишком на
podiums.
палки налегает. Все.
She's going wide. She's allowing Pigrushina to come through.
Все, села.
Retseva played a key part in the Russian success in Hogfilsen, where they finished second to the Norwegians, and she shot the perfect score on that day. It was a crucial performance. Ukraine go ahead of Russia. Pigrushina is there, but Herman is getting closer and closer. They'll be able to hear her first, and then they'll be able to hear the breathing as she comes down her neck.
It looked like Retseva's legs had gone. She was barely able to negotiate that corner, but Tirolekov has got so much fight in her.
Yeah, I love the work rate. Just watch the legs. That right leg in particular, as soon as it makes contact with the snow, she's powering on the pressure to get the acceleration, and of course the tempo higher now than it was at any stage of her run. She's safe, she's home and dry. The margin between Norway and France at 20 seconds coming into the stadium. No chance of that being overturned. Good performance. The Norwegians make it 6 out of 6 without the services of Roysland, their medal-winning star from the World Championships.
Quite incredible. Solendal as well took that title at the World Championships. That was, I think this team, beautiful way to run the race. Started down in 10th place and slowly worked their way up to first.
Germany have had the clean sweep, but no team has won 6 in a season, because usually we only have 5, and that's 7 in a row for Norway. That's another record that they've knocked off here today in Novo Mesto. Second place for the French, Mike. I think they'll be happy. It's only their 3rd podium of the season.
I think they will be happy, and there's a feeling, a sense that the shooting is back, and great fight there from Anaïs Bichon.
Yeah, they equal their performance in Ruhpolding, where they finished second to the Norwegians, but this is the fight for the bronze medal. Pigrushina has worked so hard all the way through, let herself down on the range last time, but I'm afraid Denise Herman too good for just about anyone, and the fight has gone out of the Ukrainian. Herman keeps pushing, a really impressive ski, but if only she'd hit 5 out of 5 with the stand, she would have been racing for top spot, not for 4th. So, a podium for Germany. The team are happy, but they have to rely on the speed of Denise Herman to achieve that. And it's Norway's day yet again. 109.14, the winning time. 8 targets missed. That's one of the best.
Ну, неплохо.
Well, that was a good race, Mike.
That was a great race. I'm just thinking, Ida Lien, only 22, 23, very soon year old, your 2nd day of World Cup racing, and you've got a gold medal round your neck in the relay. I mean, they really do keep producing the stars, the Norwegian teams.
Little burst from Dorothea Vera coming in just to make sure that Italy finish ahead of Sweden. She's managed to turn that around, over 2 minutes behind, so she's had a relatively easy run at it, and should be freshish for tomorrow's mass start. A win for Vera would make things a whole lot more comfortable in the chase for this year's Crystal Globe. Ski jumping next with David Goldstrom in Oslo. That should be a cracker, but no fans in the stands. We'll leave you from Novo Mesto. Norway are the champions again. A clean sweep season for them.
Ставим лайки, подписываемся. Мужская эстафета в 7 часов по Москве.